So if you've watched the channel for any length of time, you know we cover, or we pop in, shall we say, we peek over the garden wall to have a look into the realm of conservative home. And for those of you who don't know why we do that, I always feel like we have to explain this every so often, because I know we get new people every so often. So it's always worth reminding people, look, conservative home has a direct outreach into like the non-parliamentary Conservative Party. It was the main headline sponsor at the last Conservative, conference. Very, very likely, it may even be the headline sponsor, or if not a sponsor, at the next Conservative conference. So it has a lot of influence on the Conservative Party. Make no mistake about that. It does. Oh, hold on. Someone's at the door. Oh, anyway, that's sorted. So yeah, that's why we go to Conservative Home. It has a lot of influence in the non-parliamentary Conservative Party. And if over the years you've followed us and had a look at who we follow, of course, on Conservative Home, Henry Hill, of course, the editor of Conservative Home, you've probably seen him a couple of times on things like Newsnight. He gets around. He does the TV rounds and interviews. But of course, another person who writes a lot for Conservative Home is, of course, Will Atkinson, our favorite T-boy over at Conservative Home. So make no mistake, we are talking about Will today, and oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, Will is gloom-mongering so hard right now. It is unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I have never, ever seen Will write an article like this. And bear in mind, we've covered a lot of his writings over the past couple of years. And even going up into like the election, where he was really dooming about the loss, knowing we are going to have a big loss that is going to be terrible. He is now really excited, almost to a point where he is claiming in his latest piece in this, "Do you miss us yet?" He is going forward and claiming that these riots are somehow going to end up taking down the Labour government. Because, hey, you've lived under a month of socialism, so it must be that. It must be all this socialism that's been going around. And bear in mind, if I ever got a chance or an opportunity to speak to Will, I would love him to expand on what exactly he means by that. Like Will, you said in this article, how does it feel to live under a month of socialism? Can you actually expand on that and talk about these socialist policies that, that the Labour government has just brought in? It would be an interesting conversation. I think it will go off the rails very, very quickly. I have no doubt. But he then goes on to talk about the prison stuff. Well, we knew one of the big scandals that came in, which again does not paint the Tory government in a very good light, the fact that they had huge overcrowding problems in prisons. Why? Because they did not build prisons. That caused a big problem in, shockingly, the prison population. Not only that, wind back the clocks for the past like 2 or 3 years, and you have had massive problems in the prosecution section, because you have not had, or you do not have, enough criminal prosecutors, enough judges, enough courtrooms, something else that has not been built for the past 14 years. And if you want something really depressing, go and just have a look at the last time a brand new court facility was built. Trust me, it's a depressing statistic. But, for the party of law and order, Not exactly, shall we say, um, the best look. Not only that, but then they, defunded, that central section so much that if you are, you talk about the three branches of like, criminal justice. You've got sort of the police, the protect and serve. Then you've got, the sentencing part, which is the judges, the judiciary, the prosecutors. That has been criminally almost destroyed to a point by the Tories. Again, go have a look at like the stuff that Secret Barrister has written for years about how bad the court system has been, about how criminally underfunded it has been. Go read the book. It's an amazing, horrifying, terrifying read. But you get the picture, and then of course you've got prisons. One thing a lot of people don't talk about, because I knew someone who used to work in a prison in Wakefield, and when the Tories dropped the wage for prison officers, he and a lot of people left as quickly as they could. They saw the writing on the wall. They knew that what they were now being paid was just not worth it. And as a result, you had a massive job crisis in that sector, which technically you still, well, not anymore because, their wages are going up. Um, you had a massive, crisis on that because there just weren't enough wardens in the prisons to keep, to keep the peace in these prisons. And guess what? Mutinies, as they are dubbed, prison mutinies, rose exponentially, shockingly, since that happened. And one of the things that, a lot of people in that area and sector have been told, even the Secret Barrister has written about this, you do not have to send every criminal to prison. Like, there are other ways to punish people without sending them to prison. And sometimes it is far better to go for alternatives than to just send them straight to prison. But of course, as we spoke about before, the Tories are just ideologically fixed on such a, situation on this. And they can't even do that because, as far as they're concerned, and ideologically, well, if you don't send the prison, you're not being tough on crime because it's all they understand. So, some of you might be very disappointed that we're not going through this, but honestly, it is just dooming and glooming so hard. I mean, after 1 month under socialism, can anyone expect the most delusional rest is politics groupie to say that the government looks impressive? Well, and then this gives it all away right down the bottom. Because he talks about, oh, how this is going to be like our great rebuild starts now, and trust me, Will, you ain't going to rebuild anytime quickly, given the caliber of talent that's being put in front of the Conservative leadership contest. He said this: "We are the party that failed to build prisons, recruit enough police officers, and then allowed illegal immigration. Then allowed immigration, to get out of control. The state of Britain today is far more our fault than Labour's. But the opening signals are that things can only get worse. Having my pessimism vindicated feels pretty awful. But just how grim will our inheritance be in 2029? Yeah, things can only get worse because a new party is taken over. They are looking at all this stuff and aghast at what is going on. It is very likely now that Rachel Reeves, as we always said, will probably have to raise taxes. Will talks about that as aghast that Rachel Reeves might have to raise taxes. And yeah, it looks like that's the way it was going to go. But we'd said that for quite a while that, under the fiscal rules, she probably would be able to get away with that and just say, oh, well, fiscal rules, we're going to have to. So, yeah. But this is one of the, the things that you've seen, Will is completely glooming and dooming over this, over what his ostensibly his government's fault, his party's fault. And yet, when Will resorts to this, and he just takes almost any form of sort of glee or anything bad happening, and declaring that the government is about to to fall to pieces, which again, no sign of that actually happening. You know, Will is, I think, going to become the Chicken Little of conservative home. I think that's the transformation we're going to see over the next couple of years for Will. So there you go. So as always, let me know what you think down below in the comments. And of course, as always, we'll see you all next time.